What's up, YouTube? We are back with another God Guide. We're back with another one. It's crazy, right? 2 in one day? What the fuck is going on? Who the hell knows? So we're doing Morrigan because she is probably the #1 God right now in the game that's being played competitively. The new God's better, in my opinion, but new God's not available yet. New God hasn't gone through nerfs or changes. So we'll talk about the Morrigan, and we'll really know this stuff is kind of set in stone. It's doing very well all over the place. You'll see the God play in the SPL. You'll see it play in ranked. You'll see it play in casuals. Anyone who knows what they're doing with this God will build similarly and just fucking destroy with it. This God is a jungler main, is definitely a jungle God. The ability to stance switch to change in other gods is insanely good. Compared with, or not compared, when paired with the abilities that Morrigan has. And you can see her in the solo lane a decent amount. She does work there because she's built the way she is that I'm going to show you. It might not be the exact same build in the solo lane, but it's very similar. Maybe a different order of items. But because of that, you do and you will see this God a lot, so make sure you know what you're doing. So, we are starting with Bumma's Mask and Vanguard. People are going to say, what the fuck? Why Vanguard? The God doesn't need to rely on her own abilities scaling. The God needs to rely on having her ult up, being tanky, and doing a lot of damage out of the base with base damage, with your base ability damage. You don't need your items to scale your power up dramatically. Granted, you do pick up some power items, but you don't need it. It's not all necessary. So we're going to go ahead and go right into the actual build. I do start with 2 health and 2 multi-pots, 2 health, 2 mana pots usually. If I think I'm going to fight a lot, if I know in the mid lane I'm going to fight, I'll go multi-pots, but you will have lane clear with this God, once again, just like on Kernunos when I was talking about in the other God guide. When you stand on the tower and you clear, Morrigan has crazy auto attacks. The auto attack chain, third autos, AoE, does a lot of damage, and you will clear the wave on the tower just like you do on Kernunos or any ranged jungler that you're playing. It just dumpsters. So remember that. We're going into power boots, normal pen power boots. We then go into our more guardian jungle type build. We go into Stone of Binding. We then pick up a, let me find it, Breastplate of Valor. So with this build, you have pen power right off the start. You have defense, and you have the pen off of the passive on Stone of Binding. Plus, you get magical and physical. If they have no magical defense, don't pick up Stone of Binding. You can pick up Breastplate here, or you can go the Helm, the cheap 1700 gold helm, and do work with that. I then pick up Breastplate for more defense. As I said, we don't need to rely on power to make our abilities hit hard. We do need CDR. CDR is huge. It does very well. You don't have to max CDR, but a little bit of it goes a long way. I then pick up more defense, but a little bit of power. We go Voidstone, get some more pen, which is great. I then pick up a health item. Really like E-Staff right now. It does well. You get power, pen, health. The CCR is great. The passive is insanely good. And then I round out the build 90% of the time with a Rod of Tahuti. I'm throwing around random percentages now. I don't know why the fuck I'm doing that. But we end with a Rod of Tahuti. This can be a defensive item if you're not doing much damage or you're getting fucked on. But there's no real reason to do it, because once you get to this point, you can then sell your Stone of Binding and pick up some you literally just swap out the CDR, but for or swap out the pretty much the same protections, but you get a little bit more and you get some CDR. The item's a little bit cheaper, that's why you're not starting with it. Ideally, you want to get your items online very fast, and Spirit Robe's kind of a luxury, not needed, but does very well once you get the late game. With this build, you would be sitting on 30% pen, a shit ton of defense, some health, the necessary power, and the ability to still switch into anybody with your ult and fuck on them. Absolutely destroy them. For the abilities, I start with my 2. I don't know. I'm thinking one thing and saying another right now. I start with my 2. I max the 2. I then go my 1. I go my 3 for the mobility / escape potential. Max the 2, as I said. You are going your ultimate, maxing your 2. 1 is important to get online here. And once you get to level 9, you can decide if your ult's on a long cooldown at that point, you had just used it before you hit level 9. Don't level up your ult here. Level up your 2. But if you are able to ult, if your ult is up at that point, level your ult. Get this cooldown going down, because it's going down from 160 all the way to 80 seconds, which is really fucking important. It's really important to not be ulting on a really long cooldown the whole game. So then you go 2, max your 1 when you can, max your ult definitely when you can, level up your 3 last. The 3 is very, very good. It's underrated as fuck. Late game, it destroys, because with your 3, your invis lasts 8 seconds, and the cooldown starts as soon as you use it. So you'll use the invis, you'll go invis, the 15-second cooldown will start to tick. It won't be at 15 seconds either because you have CDR. So you're looking at stealthing for 8 seconds, maybe being out of stealth for like 2 to 3, and then stealthing again for 8 seconds. It is ridiculous. 8 seconds in stealth, not quite permanently, but almost permanently, is unreal. And honestly, it's unheard of. It's crazy. Obviously, you don't have crazy mobility, but you do have an ultimate that can be used to swap into somebody that can escape. When you use your ultimate, remember that you get that person's abilities, of course, and their items. So that is something to really think about. You can switch into Hercules and be super tanky if he has a bunch of tank items. If someone's really far behind, you probably don't want to swap into them because they aren't going to have items, they're going to be underleveled, and they're not going to be doing shit. So with the alt, you transform into somebody. You pick the god for 10 seconds. Pretty much with this, what you want to do is you want to pre-select the god you think you're going to swap into. If they have Hun Bats, you're probably going to be swapping into Hun Bats a lot. So make sure you click your ultimate, right-click on the god you want to be swapping into, and that won't use your ultimate. That will just allow you to pre-select the god. And then once you know you want to use the ult, you press 4, and then you left-click on your screen, and it will switch you into the god that you already have pre-selected, and it makes it go really quickly, and that's really important. We talked about the invis already, which is just being fat. You move faster, your invis for 8 seconds. The 2 is where people don't really understand what's going on here. So when you 2 somebody, you do initial damage. As you can see, it's 40 going up to 160. And then you also put a debuff on them, or you curse them, whatever the fuck. You put your omen on them. And whenever another god hits them with an ability, or if you hit them with another ability right after that, it will proc extra damage. They get bursted very hard. As you can see, you're doing 320 plus 80% scaling because you're adding 40% and 40%. It's hitting really hard. So if you can run up to somebody in your invis, throw your 2 out, and 1 them, that's a perfect combo. Little unrealistic sometimes because the other god will react, and the 1 pull out time, making it so you can use it, actually has a delay. You can't just 1 and instantly use it. You 1 kind of takes a second to get ready to go, not really charging up, but kind of, and then you can use it. The 1 is a stun with a ton of damage. So this god literally has extra damage for you, or it's always extra damage for you, but other people can proc your extra damage. You have control. You have a crazy invis to get into the fight without them even knowing, and you have an insane ult. And then as well as the passive, which is your 3rd hit, which we were talking about, your attack chain. Your 3rd hit explodes, dealing damage to all enemies within range, and dooming all enemies hit. Doomed enemies will take additional basic attack damage over time. So you're taking extra auto attack damage over time. Damage is 9% of the target's max HP over 3 seconds. It's a little ridiculous. It's people don't even read that shit. They don't even know that she does that. They just think she just has this explosion auto. No, this god is insanely good. Very, very strong. Really make sure you think about that when you're picking this god, because it's one of the few mages that can be played right now, because Alquan's not played at all. And a lot of the Guardians, you got Krabrakan and like Ymir that are being played ever, and Krabrakan's miles ahead of Ymir, and then you got Morrigan, who's miles ahead of fucking Krabrakan, in my opinion. You really want to make sure you're swapping and using the ult properly to use this god. If you're not doing that, it's not worth playing the god. Matchups, avoid gods that can fuck you up and really just lock you down because you don't have high mobility. So Rat can be annoying for you. Serket can be annoying for you. Fender is not that bad because you can stun out the Brutalize. You don't have too much to worry about. A lot of the other gods aren't terrible. Nija can also be annoying because you can ring bounce the invis. Because when you invis, you throw out a clone. Nija can ring bounce the invis and it'll knock you out of stealth. So those are the gods you really have to watch out for out of the assassins. Warrior-wise, you'll find against all of them position properly. Don't be an idiot, and you can farm them because most of the time they're going to have physical defense early. Farm them early, then continue to farm them late. You'll do just fine. Guardians, I like killing all of them. I honestly don't mind killing. I mean, Geb can be frustrating because his shield and his kit is just aids, but it's aids for everybody. You get used to it pretty quick. Mage-wise, I don't mind any of the mages. When I say I don't mind, I mean I can live with playing against them. It's not like I see a mage, I'm like, I'm not playing against this. But Nuwa, Poseidon can be frustrating as fucking shit. Because Nuwa can drop minions and explode you if you try to gank or get up in her face off of an invis. And Poseidon can whirlpool and ult you if you try to get up in Poseidon's face with an invis. Just make sure with those kind of gods you're positioning back. You're not getting in their face in Morrigan stance. You're ulting into somebody who can actually take care of those gods. And then hunter-wise, no problem with any of the hunters. On her can be frustrating because of the slow. Ho Yi, the invis, the 2 removes invis or reveals invis for Ho Yi, which is really disgusting. So avoid Ho Yi, maybe avoid Honor. The rest you'll be just fine. Make sure you try to remember everything I'm telling you with this because the kit can be kind of annoying if you really don't get it. the gods you play against can be kind of annoying if you don't really think about them. And the way you're using your kit, the way you're using your abilities, the way you're using your items you're buying, just remember, you're not an insta-kill mage unless you're swapping into a god that does that. You are a control mage that actually does a lot of damage, can take a lot of damage, and doesn't have to freak out if people get on top of you or start doing damage to you. You're pretty damn tanky with this build. Hopefully you guys realize that. Run this build. Let me know what you think. Leave a like if this build, if this video, if any of this helped you. And also let me know if you guys need anything else for these videos. If there's any more info you're missing, tell me. And I'll help you. I'll try to put in the videos. I will see you all in the video later on.